Hello everyone and welcome back to Always Watching. Today I am continuing my coverage of the Tribeca Film Festival with the documentary Runa Simi. Briefly, the documentary follows Fernando Valencia, a voice artist from the Peruvian Andes, attempting to dub the 1994 animated classic, The Lion King. And I know I've said this for every documentary so far this festival, but this has to be one of the best ever. My quality of life has improved knowing that Fernando exists in this world. And I'm not exaggerating, but your faith in humanity will be restored if you watch this documentary. Like, I'm not even kidding. Fernando lives in Cusco, Peru, and he's one of the few people trying to maintain their indigenous language, Quechua. Quechua is a language largely disposed of by youth in the region. And to combat this, Fernando started a YouTube channel called Quechua Clips. Quechua is the ancestral language of the Incas, also known as Runa Simi. And he started this YouTube channel in hopes of introducing youth to content previously inaccessible to them. The documentary is beautifully shot. It could actually double as a tourist ad. By the end, I wanted to visit. Living in the mountain looks a lot more idyllic than it really is. I thought the way the film used the Lion King to unpack the relationship between Fernando and his son Dylan, as well as showcase the importance of preserving indigenous languages, was so well done. Fernando describes Quechua as akin to Simba in The Lion King. After his father's murder, Simba runs away, too scared to ever return. He believes he serves no purpose, but his absence nearly kills everyone he loves, and worse, nearly eradicates all traces of the place he called home. His uncle's reign triggers a union between the hyenas and the lions, which feel less like a collaboration and more like a takeover. To restore order, Simba has to go home and find the courage to face the truth. After watching this documentary, I rewatched The Lion King, and there were certain scenes I was triggered by. Again, I haven't seen the film in years, but it still resonates the same. People like Fernando have tried to work with those in power to preserve their language and culture. Instead, they have been devoured and taken advantage of. Fernando lives in the mountain, an area that has been reduced to a tourist site by the government. So much of what they've had to build on their own. What's worse is they're not afforded the same privileges as those granted in the city. And at one point, during a visit to the capital, he mentions how those in the city are more concerned with catching up to the rest of the world and not so much protecting what they already have. Most of the film centers on Fernando's journey to try and secure the license from Disney. However, no one is really eager to help him. No one sees the value in what he's doing. He tries to contact Disney. He even manages to get the director of The Lion King on the phone. However, it's still not enough. And it's not that Disney have said no, they just haven't said anything. Fernando's journey really shows how difficult it is to follow your dreams. I never thought about this as a solution for endangered languages, but dubbing a film is probably the easiest and most efficient way to not only save a language, but encourage others to try and learn it. Fernando's inability to even come close to contacting Disney leaves him feeling very defeated and discouraged. And there's a segment in the documentary where it feels like he's given up, and he's forced to reflect on his why. Like, why am I doing this? Why didn't I just do what everybody else is doing and get a regular job that pays me enough to eat? Like, he's really soul searching. And the more questions he asks himself, the clearer the answer. If you want something done, you're gonna have to do it yourself. This man saved up enough money to build a whole studio and hire actors. So next time you say you can't do anything, just remember a man living in the mountains of Peru managed to build an entire studio on his own, hire actors to dub The Lion King. Because we follow Fernando from the very beginning, it's hard to really see his dreams coming true. And so in the end, when he's able to persevere, it feels like such a surreal experience. Seeing everyone's reaction was honestly one of the most emotionally triggering moments I've ever had watching a documentary, because this is the first time a lot of people are watching a film, let alone watching a film with a group of people. Like, this is as close to a theater as they've ever had. And I believe movies are one of the few mediums in which people are able to catch a glimpse of a world outside of their own, and in doing so discover something deeper about who they are and what they're capable of. If Fernando had not been exposed to The Lion King, he might never have discovered a solution to this problem he's very passionate about resolving, which is preserving this indigenous language. So many of these indigenous languages are being pushed out and replaced, and their survival is really essential to preserving a country's history and culture. I think what made me very angry about Disney was their silence. It was almost as if he wasn't even worth responding to. And a large part of Fernando's struggle is trying to prove the value of what he's doing, like the value of this language. For much of the film, Fernando really doubted the validity of what he's doing, and securing the license for The Lion King would have eased a lot of his worries. In the end, the silence just confirmed how little the world thought of him and what he was trying to do, and actually highlighted how important his mission really was. I think the fact that he was able to carry out the project without Disney's blessing was a huge milestone. The survival of Quechua is not just essential for their identity, but for Peru's as a whole, if they want to resist being taken over by outside influences. By choosing to dub The Lion King himself, Fernando not only demonstrated the value of this language, but also demonstrated a sense of urgency and determination. And again, I have watched many documentaries at this point, and this year for Tribeca, the documentaries have been amazing. But this was honestly, when you think about what life is about, this documentary is what I would refer you to. Imagine knowing what you want to do. Like, you know the value of it, you know how important this is, you know the impact that it could have, but you wish everybody else could see it. And it's not until the final moments, until he actually screens the film, that you feel it, that you're like, oh wow, this is actually a big deal. And so this was just such a beautiful documentary, and I think everyone should see it. And if you're at the festival, please watch it. If not, please buy it, please look out for it. I mean, this was just, like, my life was improved knowing that this man exists on this planet. So until next time.